Hello developers, welcome to Let's Code. So far, we have learned how numbers are represented in binary and how signed number work using 2's complement and how computer stores everything as bits. Today, we will stop looking at numbers and start working with bits directly. That's called bit manipulation. So if we have to write in plain English, we can write bit manipulation as bit manipulation is solving problems by operating directly on binary digits, that is 0 and 1, right? Why to do this? Because computer natively work in binary and bit operations are extremely fast than any other arithmetic operations. And many interview problems are designed to test this skill. So in a code, if you say, if arithmetic is talking to the computer politely, then bit manipulation is speaking to its native language. So let's talk about bitwise operators. So programming languages gives us special operators that work bit by bit. And there are four such major operators which we are going to talk today. These are and which is represented by this or which is represented by pi XOR which is represented by this and not which is represented by tilde sign. So these are the bitwise operators which we are going to talk today. These operators don't work on numbers, they work on individual bits. So now let's talk about each of these bitwise operator one by one. So let's first talk about AND operator. So this is AND operator. AND return true if both the bits are 1. So this means if both the bits are 1, return true, else false. So the two bits could be both 0. So if we perform AND between 0 and 0, it will become 0. If we perform 0 and 1, it will become 0. If we perform between bits 1 and 0, this also become 0. And the last case is if both the bits are 1, then this will be 1. For example, if we have number 4, the binary representation of 4 is 1, 0, 0. And let's say we have 5, which is 1, 0, 1. If we perform bitwise AND between 4 and 5, so 4 and 5 will give us result. Since both the bits are not 1, 0, both the bits are not 1, 0, both the bits are 1, so it will be 1. So this is again nothing but 4 itself, right? So the intuition is AND is a filter. Only the bits that are on in both the numbers, only those survive. So some of the common use cases of AND operators are: first, check even or odd. We can directly check with bitwise AND operator whether a number is odd or even. Second, we use AND operator for masking. What is masking? We will discuss this part later in this section. And also for extracting specific bit. Extracting specific bit. So we will discuss all the use cases later in this section after we have discussed all the bitwise operators. Now, the second bitwise operator is OR operator. So the second bitwise operator is bitwise OR, that is represented by pipe sign. OR returns true if at least one of the bit is 1. So we can draw the same truth table like bitwise AND. If both the bits are 0, then 0. If 1 or 0, then 1. If 0 or 1, then 1. If 1 or 1, then also 1. So if any of the bit is true, it will become true. If we take the same example, which we took for bitwise AND for 4 and 5, let's see what happens. So 4 again is 100, 5 is 101, and if we do 4 or 5, this will become, since it is 1, 1, both are 0, so 0, both are 1, so 1. So this is nothing but 5 again. So the intuition of bitwise OR is, it is called bit setter. What basically means, if any of the bit is 1 or on, it turns to on only, right? It can never turn to off. So let's say this is off and this is on, it is still on, right? So it turns a off bit into on. So that is why it is called a bit setter, right? So OR is bit setter, or we can say it turns bit on. On the other hand, AND is a bit filter. So we can say like same intention for a AND is bit filter. If both the bits are 1 or both the bits are true, then only it will survive, else it will fail. So that is why AND is called bit filter and OR is called bit setter. Let's understand a very quick example where we can use bitwise OR. So let's say we have a file system which has permissions like read, write, or execute. Now let's say assign some values in each of the permissions where only one bit is set for each of the permission. So let's say for read, we can assign value 1. Similarly, for write, we can assign 2. Similarly, for execution, we can assign value 4. Right. So if you see, only one of the bit is set. Now let's say we want to add a permission which combines existing two permission. So say like we want to combine read and write. What we will do? We will do OR operation between read and write. So we'll do read or write. What this will give is, so 0 and 1 1, 0 and 1 1, rest both things 0 0. So this will give us 0 0 1 1. Now this is a permission which is combined of read and write. Or let's say I am admin and I should have all the permission. So what should we do to get me the admin permission? I will write or between all of the permission. So what I will do? Basically, admin means admin could be read or write or execute. This will give us 0 1 1 1. So this is how bitwise OR is used. In operating systems, compilers, and configurations, OR is used all the time. Now later we will learn more use cases of OR, which will be combined with operators like left shift or right shift. Also, when we will discuss the properties of bitwise operator. For now, let's talk about the third bitwise operator, that is bitwise XOR. Bitwise XOR is the most important operator. So, bitwise XOR, this is the most important operator. Why this is very important? We will see it later. Okay, so bitwise XOR says return true if both the bits are different. To understand what this means, let us write the truth table for bitwise XOR. So let's say we have 0 XOR 0. This will give us 0 because both the bits are not different. Now we have 0 XOR 1. Both the bits are different, so it will return true, which is 1. 1 XOR 1, sorry, 0. This will give us 1. Why? Because both the bits are different. Now we have 1 XOR 1. Since both the bits are not different, this will give us 0. To understand this more, let us try to use the same example we used for AND and OR. 4 is 100, 5 is 101. If we do 4 XOR 5, 5, this will give us. So both the bits are different, so it will be 1. Both the bits are same, so it will be 0. Both the bits are same, so it will be 0. This is actually 1. So the intuition for bitwise OR is it cancels the identical bits. And that property leads to very magical things. We will learn those things later. So what is the intuition? It cancels the identical bits. Now let's talk about the fourth bitwise operator, that is NOT. So the fourth operator is bitwise NOT operator. This is represented by tilde. Bitwise NOT flips every single bit. Now bitwise NOT, unlike the any other operators like bitwise AND or XOR operator, it only takes single bit to operate. It does not require 2 bit. So it takes single bit, so NOT of 0, this becomes 1, and NOT of 1 becomes 0. It does not require 2 bit to operate. So basically, if we understand with the same example of 4 and 5, so if 4 is given, it is 100. So NOT of 4 will be, it will flip all the single bits. So it will become 0, 1, 1. Similarly, we have 5 here, which is 101. So NOT of 5 will be 0, 1, 0. Now, if we try to write any number in 8 bits, so let's say we will try to write 5 only in 8 bits. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is 5. So NOT of 5 will be 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0. So if you have watched my previous lecture of how to represent binary number in negative, we used to do 2's complement. And the 2's complement steps were first to invert the bit, then add 1. So this is the inversion part. So basically, negative of 5 was invert 5 and then add 1. So in that term, we can write not equal to -5 minus 1 or minus of 5 plus 1, right? We can write like this. Or in generic term, we can write it like not of n equal to negative of n plus 1. So this is the definition of bitwise not operator. And from where did we write this? This we write from 2's complement. I hope you guys remember this 2's complement. From this only we derived this. Now let's talk about the properties of bitwise operator. Okay. So the first property is commutative. So commutative property means changing the order of operator does not affect the result. And all the bitwise operators are commutative in nature. What it meant? If A and B, this is same as B and A. Similarly, for OR also, A or B is same as B or A. The result will remain same. Similarly, A XOR B is equal to B XOR A. Changing the order does not affect the result. Now, since NOT does not require two operand, we do not write this property for NOT. Now, let's talk about the second property, that is associative property. So, associative means how you group things together. So, very similar to cumulative, all the three operators are also associative in nature. What it means is A and B, let's say we group these together and write C. This is same as grouping A and grouping the B and C together. Similarly, if we have A or B, if we group together first and then C, this is same as grouping B or C first, then with A. Similarly, for XOR, if we have A XOR B XOR C, this is same as A XOR B XOR C, where these are grouping together first. Okay. So all the three operators are commutative and associative in nature. You can also understand these properties using some example. Let's say again we have, let's say 4 and 5. So if we try to apply bitwise and first, so once again let's say 4 equal to 100 and 5 equal to 101. So either we do 100 and 101 or 101 and 100. This is same. Similarly for OR also, 4 or 5 is same as 5 or 4, and same goes to XOR as well. 4 XOR 5 is same as 5 XOR 4. So these are all true. Similarly, if you see for the associative, we can say like 4 and 5 and 6. When 4 and 5 are grouping together, it's exactly same as 4 and 5 and 6. Same goes for OR, same goes for XOR, right? So now let's learn about another property which is called identity. Identity property means there exists a special value which, when combined with any element using an operation, leaves the element unchanged. Or in short, you can understand it like doing the operation with the identity element does nothing. What it meant is, so let's say, so once again, as I said, identity property means there exists a special value when combined with any element using an operation leaves the element unchanged. So the identity element for XOR is 0. So when you do A XOR 0, the value is A. Similarly, when you do A or 0, the value is A. But if you do A and 0, the value is not A. So basically, 0 is not an identity element for A. Why? Because A and 0 is 0, not A. So what is the identity element for AND operator? It's a number where all the bits are 1. Okay. So hope you understood the identity property. So now let's talk about self property, or this is also sometimes called idempotent property. So the property is self property or self properties. This is also called idempotent property. So what this property says is what happens when a value is combined with itself, or you can also say when an element is operated with itself, the result follows a predictable and fixed outcome. Let us understand it. So A XOR A. So the operator is operating on self, on A itself. This become 0. Similarly, A or A become A. Similarly, A and A is again A. Now, if you see OR operator and AND operator gives the idempotency as the self, but XOR operation between the self is 0, right? That is why this XOR operator becomes a powerful operator using this self property. How so? We will discuss in a while. Now, let's discuss how to identify a number is even or odd using bitwise operation. So, identify a number is even or odd using bitwise operator. So far, if we had to identify any number, whether it's even or odd, what we used to do? We used to do the remainder trick, whether the number is even or odd. What I meant is, let's say if a number is, let's say 52, what I will do, so to find whether this number is even or odd, what I will do, I will just try to find the remainder by 2. If it's 0, that means it is an even number. If it is a 1, that means it's an odd number. But now, since we have learned the bitwise operator, we have even better and extremely faster way to decide whether any number is even or odd. So first, let's understand how to do that using bitwise operator, and then discuss why this is extremely faster than the modulus operator or the remainder operator. So how do we represent any number in binary? So let's say we have to represent 8 in binary number. Let's try to represent this number in 8 bits. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is 8, right? Similarly, if I have to represent 9, it will be 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1. If I have to represent 7, so it will be 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1. Similarly, if I have to represent 6, it will be 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and 1, 1, 0. So if you try to observe any number which is odd, so here it's 9 and 7 is odd, the last bit is 1. And if the number is even, the last bit is 0. And this is not just for these four numbers. For any number, if the number is even, its last bit will be always and always 0. And if the number is odd, then its last bit will be always 1. So can we try to use this observation and try to use any operator to find this behavior of any number, whether the number is having the last bit 1 or 0? If we can get that, we can simply tell whether the number is even or odd, right? We don't need to bother about the rest of the bits, just the last bit, right? So do we know any such bitwise operator which is capable of filtering the remaining bits? We just learned, right? So when we were discussing, and I told you that I told you that and is used for bit filter, right? This is exactly what we needed. We want to filter out the remaining bits. So how will we filter out the remaining bits and just check this last bit? What we will do, we will be doing and with 1. So let's say now we have 8. So 8 is 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0. If I do and with 1, so what is the 1 for 8 bits? It will be 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and the last bit will be 1. If I do and, the result will be 0, and since all the previous bits are 0, no matter whatever the bits the original number has, everything will be 0. So 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So what's the last bit? 0. Now, not just 8, any number. Take any number. Let's say I take 7. So 7 is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So 5, 0, 6, 7, 8. And if I do and, then 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. So what will be the and? Only the last bit is 1 for 1. So if the last bit for the other number is also 1, then it will be 1. And remaining everything will be zeroed. Why? Because the 1 does not have any other bits set. So all other number will be right. So what this means, if there is any odd number, and we have already identified that odd number's last bit will be 1. And for even numbers, last bit will be 0. So basically, if there is any even number and if we do AND, we will always find 0, no matter whatever the number is. And if there is any odd number and if we AND it with 1, we will always find 1 as the result, no matter whatever be the number, right? So we can use this observation to check whether a number is even or odd. So what we will do, any number, if n ending with 1 gives us 0, it is guaranteed that this n is even. Similarly, if and with 1 of the same number gives 1, it is 100% guaranteed that and is odd. Now we have learned that AND operator can be used to identify whether a number is even or odd by just doing an AND operator 1. Just ending the number with 1 will give us whether the number is even or odd, right? So now we can replace the modulo operator wherever we are using to check even and odd. We can just use the AND operator and this will give us the result. Now, why this is faster than modulo operator? Because this works in bit level, right? It directly works on the bit level and gives the result directly by native bit operation. Whereas the modulus operator or the remainder operator does repeated division of the number by 2 and 2 and 2 and 2 and 2 until the quotient become 0, right? So this does this repeatedly, but this AND operator just works once. That is why the AND operator is very faster than the modulus operator. So this way we can use the bitwise operator to identify whether a number is even or odd. Now let's discuss about another similar observation and try to understand the power of bitwise operator. So we have to find the power of 2. So find if, so we have to find whether a number is power of 2 or not. So once again, in bitwise representation, how do you find the power of 2? So let's say if I have, so what are the power of 2 first of all? So power of 2 could be 0. So what is power of 2? 0 means 1. Similarly, I can have power of 2 equal to 1, which is 2 itself. Again, I can have power of 2 to the power 2, 4. Similarly, I can have 2 to the power 3, 8. Now, if I try to write the binary representation of 1, what it will be? So let's try to write it in 4 bits. So it will be 0, 0, 0, 1, right? Similarly, if I try to write the binary representation of 2, it will be 0, 0, 1, 0. If I try to write the power of 2, it will be 0, 1, 0, 0. Similarly, power of 3, to the power 3, it will be 1, 0, 0, 0. Similarly, 2 to the power 4, it will be another 1 and then all 0. Power of 5, another the fifth position 1 and all other position 0. So what's the pattern here? The pattern is all the bits are 0 except one bit, right? If only one bit is 1 in the entire representation of the number, then we can say that this number is a power of 2, right? Now, is there a way I can check whether this binary number has only one bit set and all other bit not set? So what we can do is we can actually take any number. So let's say this is 2 to the power 2, which is 4. So if I take this number and I can try to find any number which has all other bits set except this bit. So I want a number which is having this as 0 and all other bits are 1. I want such number. And if I do AND with such number, what will I get? 0, 0, 0, 0, right? So for any number, if it's the power of 2, so let's say this number now, if I somehow get a number that's all other bits are set except the same bit, right? And if I do with AND again, it will become 0, 0, 0, 0. So basically what I need to find a magical number. And what is that magical number? The magical number should have all other bits set except the same bit which is set for this number. How should I find that magical number? Also, let's say if it's a representation of 8 bits. So let's say if it's 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 0. And I need to find the magical number whose all other bits are 1 except the this set bit. And I need to do AND so that this entire number becomes 0. Can I also do this instead of doing, so let's write it again. Can I also do, instead of having all the other bits as 1 or set except this one, I can just have this bit as unset and all the bits which are on the right side of this bit should be 1. Ending this will also give me the same result, right? Because ending with 0, it gives 0, no matter whatever the other bit is. If it is 0, then it will give us 0. So this will give us 0. So basically, I do not care about the left-hand side of this set bit. I just care that all the right-hand side bits should be 1, right? That's what I need, right? So from setting all other bits to 0, now I have reached to a number with all the right-hand side bits except the set bit should be 1, right? Because all the left-hand side of the original bit will be 0 and zeroing ending with 0 will always give us the 0 result. So basically, I need a number whose right-hand side bits are 1. So how should we find that number? So it turns out the number is already known to us by just using a simple observation. What is that number? So let's say this number is power of 2, okay? 2 to the power 2 is equal to 4. So if 4 is power of 2, which is 2 to the power 2, is 0, 1, 0, 0. What is 3? 3 is nothing but 0, 0, 1, 1. Similarly, if 8 is 1, 0, 0, 0, what is 7? 7 is 0, 1, 1, 1. Once again, if let's say I have 16, so what is 16? It will be 1, 0, 0, 0, 0. So what is 15? 15 is nothing but 0, 1, 1, 1, 1. So it turns out the previous number, then the power of 2 number is already the magical number which I was trying to find, right? I was trying to find a number whose all right side bits are set except the bit for the original number, right? And if I do AND with this, if I do AND here or AND here or AND here, what it will give? It will give all zeros. Zero, 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 zero. Right. So basically, I have the magical number now. If a number is power of 2, then what? N ending with n minus 1 equal to 0, right? If the number is power of 2, then ending this number with 1 minus of it will give me always 0, right? If this statement is true, then the number is a power of 2 number, right? So we have to just check this case, or we can write like if and n minus 1 equal to 0, then the number is power of 2. So did you see? This is how we can use the simple observations to create powerful results, right? Here we just observed what is the pattern and what is needed to check whether a number is power of 2 or not, and then we reached to this conclusion. We derived this formula by simple observation. I hope you guys understood this approach. How to check whether a number is a power of 2 or not. If the number is satisfying this condition, then this number, the number is said to be power of 2. But do you think this case will work always? Will there be an exception? Yes, there will be one exception, and the exception is, so what are we doing here? To check this, we are doing n minus 1, right? So if the number is 0, what will happen if I do 0 minus 1? This will give us a negative number, and this case will fail. So that is why we have to first make sure that the number is greater than 0. So apply our logic only if n is greater than 0. This is very important, right? If the number is less than 0, or 0, then this formula will not work. So make sure the number should be greater than 0. This is the only exception, or you can say the edge case for this. Okay, now let's solve a very interesting problem which has been asked in many interviews by top companies like Microsoft. So let's see the problem. So this is a very important problem. So the problem is says, given a list of numbers where all the number appear twice except one number. Okay, so what it meant? So let's say given a list. So let's like 5, 3, 4, 8, 4, 5. So 4 is appearing twice, 5 is appearing twice, and let's say 8 is also appearing twice. So given a list of numbers where all the number appear twice except one number. So if you see here, 3 is only such number which is appearing only once. All other numbers are appearing 2 times. So we have to find the unique number. Okay. So this is the problem. So how should we solve this problem? I hope the problem statement is clear enough. So in order to solve this problem, the most simplest way one can think is store the numbers in a hash map and keep count of all the numbers. And then iterate through all the keys and check for count for each of the number. Whichever number is having count as 1, return that number as the answer. But what's the issue with this approach? The issue is we have to use an extra space. We have to use a map. So basically what I meant is if I solve it via brute force, the way is keep count of each number in a map and then iterate through the keys if count equal to 1, return the key, right? So if I have to understand using some dry run, so let's say this is the map, okay? So first I visited 5, I stored 5, kept the count as 1. I visited 3, I stored 3, kept the count as 1. I stored 4, I- and count as 1. Then 8, 4, 5, 8. So then I visited 8, kept the count as 1. Then visited 4 again. Now the count will become 2. Then I have 5. Again, the count will become 2. And then 8, the count will become 2. Then I have to iterate through all these map keys one by one. So I will check for 5, what is the count? 2. Again, check for 3, what is the count? 1. So I have found a key for which the count is 1. So I will simply return as this as the answer. So this is the brute force approach of solving this problem, right? By using a map. But can we think of a way where we do not have to use a map? Because if we use a map here, it will take an order of n as the space complexity. We want to avoid that. So is there a way we can solve this without using a map? It turns out from all the things which we learned today, there is a very interesting property which we can apply here, and this can be solved without using an additional space. So if you see, while we were discussing the properties of operators, we discussed an property called self property or idempotent property, which says if I do XOR of same number with itself, it gives us 0. So can I use this property? So can I use this property and apply to this problem somehow to solve it? It turns out we can. So what that property says, idempotent of XOR says, so basically using XOR property. So what it says, A XOR A equal to 0. Basically, if there is any number and if I do XOR with itself, it will give me 0. Also, the XOR property is associative in nature, right? Here, it's associative in nature. So no matter whatever be the order of applying it, it will always give the same result. So what I meant is, let's say if I have to do, so now we know this 5 XOR 5 will give me 0. But if I do 5 XOR 6 XOR 7 XOR 5, I am pretty sure that I will get this 5 XOR 5 calculated as the same. So I will always get 0 XOR 6 XOR 7. So this will be definitely there, which will cancel each other and will become 0, right? So it is associative in nature, as well as this self property will cancel it out. So using these two property of XOR, we can easily solve this question. So basically what we will do, we will apply XOR to all the numbers. What that will do, so 5, 3, 4, 8, 4, 5, 8. So let's say I have the number 5, 3, 4, 8, 5, 8, 4, 5, 8, right? So I have 8, 4, 5, 8. I will apply XOR. So it will 5 eventually which be doing XOR with itself. This will become 0. Then again 4 will be doing XOR with itself. It will become 0. And 8 will be doing XOR with itself and it will become 0. So basically what will remain? 0 XOR 0 XOR 0 XOR 3. Right. Now what is 0 XOR 0? Again, it's same thing, right? A XOR A. So again 0 XOR 0 is 0 and 0 XOR 0 is 0. So which is again 0 XOR 3. This is what remained. Now what is A XOR 0? if I go back and here see what is 0 XOR any number, it's A itself, right? So what this will become? So what this will become? This will become 3. So you see, if I apply all the properties of XOR, it turns out we can solve this without using any extra space. What I have to do? Just so what are the steps to solve this problem now using the XOR? Iterate through each number and apply XOR. That's what I have to do, right? So basically what I will do, let's say result equal to first, what I will do, result equal to 0, and I will run a for loop for element I in, let's say this is the input. What I will do, result equal to result XOR I. This is the same thing of this as this one, okay? Applying XOR with each of the element. So it will keep applying XOR with each of the element, and then I have to return the result. So this is how we can solve this problem without using an extra space, right? We can just find the unique number which is not appearing twice. This result will have that number, and we will just return the result. So this is the power of bitwise operations. I hope you guys understood this problem clearly. So if we can summarize today's lecture, so applying similar observations of bitwise operator, we can use these bitwise tricks and replace many things which we used to do arithmetically using lengthy operations with just very simple operations. And these bitwise operations are extremely fast because this directly works at the bit level. So we saw how we can replace the even or check with bitwise and how we check the power of 2 with bitwise and how we check the finding unique element in a duplicate array list using XOR. So bit manipulation is not about clever tricks. It's about understanding patterns. Bitwise operators don't do any magic. They just follow very simple rules and extremely fast. That's why we learn bit manipulation. So let's quickly recap what we learned today. What is bit manipulation? How bitwise AND, bitwise OR, bitwise XOR, and NOT operator work. What is the powerful use of XOR operator and AND operator? How to solve classic interview problems using bitwise operator, and why bit manipulation leads to optimized solution. In next upcoming lecture, we will go deeper into setting, clearing, and toggling bits, and bit masking, and advanced XOR patterns, and many more interview problems. So remember, computers don't understand numbers, they understand pattern of bits, and now you also understand it too. So thank you all. That was for today's lecture. See you in the next lecture.